Aloha, and welcome to Tutor Forum. Today we'll talk about audiobooks, brought to you by Hawaii Literacy's Adult Literacy Program. For today's topic of audiobooks, we'll discuss using audiobooks as an effective literacy tool. So let's dive right in. Audiobooks have been widely used in schools as a tool to support ELLs, learning disabled students, and struggling readers. In many cases, audiobooks have proven successful in helping these learners to access literature and enjoy books. Multiple studies also proven the benefits of audiobooks in education environments. They are not commonly promoted as a tool in adult literacy education. Typically, the driving force behind adult literacy is to introduce or reintroduce reading to an adult learner. With that comes a lot of opportunities to do hands-on reading with materials like magazines, books, and newspaper articles. The idea is to let the learners get comfortable with handling the materials and getting comfortable with the whole process of reading through exposure. What is not so obvious is that you can get exposure and gain critical skills through listening to audiobooks. You might be thinking, that's not really reading, is it? Or, I won't let my learner listen to audiobooks because that's cheating. Listening to books is certainly different from reading books, but is it cheating? Does listening to audiobooks count as reading? Well, here are the facts. Reading and listening are actually extremely similar tasks. When decoding or figuring out letter-sound relationships, it's automatic. The mental processes involved in reading and listening are essentially the same, especially when it comes to narrative text. For those who have not yet mastered phonics or gained sufficient fluency, particularly for students with dyslexia, ADHD, decoding is an additional cognitive load that can prevent them from using their language processing skills to comprehend the text. Audiobooks can take off that additional load so that, while a student works on their other literacy skills, they can practice the higher level task of understanding what the text means. Learners of all ages who use audiobooks to improve their literacy skills can gain confidence in their ability to learn and accelerate the learning process. The skills students develop while listening to audiobooks help them get better at reading and understanding written text in diverse situations. This is especially true for adults who are learning to read. For new readers, audiobooks enhance critical listening skills, comprehension, pronunciation, vocabulary, and the overall learning experience. It might be appropriate then to list the benefits of audiobooks for all students. Audiobooks can be used to introduce students to books above their reading level, model good interpretive reading, teach critical listening, highlight the humor in books, introduce new genres that students might not otherwise consider, introduce new vocabulary or difficult proper names or locales. Audiobooks can help sidestep unfamiliar dialects or accents, Old English, and old-fashioned literary styles. It can provide a read-aloud model and provide a bridge to important topics of discussion for parents and children who can listen together while commuting to sporting events, music lessons, or on vacations. The benefits of using audiobooks to teach literacy. Audiobooks can help with critical listening. Listening to audiobooks forces learners to focus on the sounds of words. In doing so, this builds their capacity to focus and develops their critical listening skills. Additionally, chapter books and novels require longer periods of listening, which develops a greater attention span. Audiobooks can also help with comprehension. Listening to read with both eyes and ears or multisensory reading improves learners' comprehension skills. Decoding is the process of learning the sounds that each letter makes as it is being read to establish the sound-symbol relationships. This is also known as phonics. By listening to an audiobook and reading along in the book, decoding becomes simpler and quicker. This enables learners to apply their critical thinking skills and focus more of their attention on understanding what they are reading and hearing. Audiobooks can also help with pronunciation. By listening to and being able to consecutively replay specific sentences and sections, learners can practice repeating certain words out loud as many times as it takes to correctly and fluently pronounce them. By reading along while listening, learners can sound out the words as they read them. This simplifies the transition between learning to correctly pronounce and read singular words and learning to connect and read them in full sentences. Audiobooks also support vocabulary. Exposure to new vocabulary comes with independent reading, reading aloud, or listening to audiobooks. Audiobooks allow instructors to introduce more complex books at higher reading levels, which expose learners to new vocabulary. Lastly, audiobooks help with the learning experience. Audiobooks create an enjoyable and effective learning experience. When using audiobooks to develop literacy skills, learners can move at their own pace. They can listen anywhere and at any time, whether they're on their way to work, during breaks, or even before bed. Additionally, if there is something that learners don't understand, it is easy for them to go back to the beginning of that section or sentence. They can do this as many times as necessary to understand what is being said and what they are reading. Learners also have the opportunity to engage with new novels and short stories, different styles of writing, and discover new genres that they may not have known about before. Audiobooks open the door to an enjoyable learning experience that incentivizes learners to overcome challenges. Here are some suggestions for audiobook websites. Spotify, most commonly recognized as a music streaming service, but what is lesser known is that it also has audiobooks that are accessible by creating a free account. Titles are limited, but there are some classic literature titles, even Harry Potter. Audible. This is one of the largest audiobook websites. It's owned by Amazon and has over 150,000 books. It's not free, but it does have a free 30-day free trial. And if you discover that you love audiobooks, it might be worth subscribing to. Project Gutenberg. If you'd rather not pay for audiobooks, you can look around Project Gutenberg. This website is known for its collection of free ebooks, but it also has a nice selection of audiobooks. LibriVox. This website of free audiobooks exists thanks to volunteers from around the world who record themselves reading books. It has some great books to choose from. Internet Archive. This is a non-profit digital library that has curated and cataloged millions of books, music, software, and other online media. There is a collection of 20,000 audiobooks in addition to the entire LibriVox catalog. Lit2Go. Lit2Go has a collection of audiobooks from grade K to 12. Titles will be mostly geared towards youth readers, but some adults may enjoy some of the books that are available. Story Nori. This is a large collection of classic fairy tales that can be listened to by the whole family. And finally, don't forget to check out your local libraries. Many libraries now have digital libraries where you can check out ebooks and audiobooks for free, just like regular books at a library. Ask your local library or check online to see if you have access to a digital library. This concludes Tutor Forum Audiobooks. Thanks for your attention. Is there a topic that you would like to be covered in a Tutor Forum? Are there questions, comments, and complaints? Contact me. Mahalo!